SpaceX adds Falcon 9 back to Second Gen Starlink launch plan. Tampa, Florida. SpaceX has decided to launch 30,000 satellites on its proposed second-generation Starlink broadband constellation using a combination of Falcon 9 and Starship rockets. The launch of several satellites powered by SpaceX's tried and trusted Falcon 9 will accelerate the deployment of constellations to power Starlink services. In a letter to the Federal Communications Commission on August 19, David Goldman, director of satellite policy at SpaceX, said Goldman has not disclosed when SpaceX will begin launching the second-generation constellation, which is still subject to FCC approval. In January, SpaceX announced that it had selected the configuration of our LEO, or Low Earth Orbit network, using the Starship, a delayed ultra-heavy lifter under development in Boca Chica, Texas. The Federal Aviation Administration in June completed a long-term environmental impact assessment that will allow Starship to launch from Boca Chica. But first, SpaceX will have to implement dozens of measures to reduce its environmental impact. Starship is expected to send her LEO over 100 tons of payload, while SpaceX's Falcon 9 workhorse weighs less than 23 tons of her. SpaceX has previously said that second-generation Starlinks deployed via Starship could be operational within weeks of launch, rather than months after the Falcon 9 mission. While SpaceX will use technically identical satellites in both rockets, the physical structures will be tailored to meet the physical dimensions of the rockets on which they will be launched, Goldman told the FCC. SpaceX CEO Elon Musk said the full-size second-generation Starlink will be 7 meters long and weigh about 1,250 kilograms, about 5 times the weight of the first generation. Goldman said SpaceX, whether launched on a Falcon 9 or Starship, would deploy all of its 29,988 second-generation satellites at altitudes of 340 to 614 kilometers in 9 inclined orbits. He said he is still working on it. Specifically, SpaceX plans to launch satellites for its Gen 2 constellation, beginning with its 3 500-kilometer shells, followed by satellites in its lower altitude shells. He said, "The result will be that more Americans will receive high-quality broadband faster." SpaceX's constellation plans have faced opposition from companies, including satellite broadband operator Viasat, who want the FCC to conduct an environmental review before approving its second-generation network. SpaceX has launched over 3,100 of its satellites for the current generation of its Starlink with Falcon 9, usually around 50 batches per mission. More than 2,800 people are currently working on LEO, according to astronomer and space analyst Jonathan McDowell. According to the company, the second generation will offer more dense rural coverage and improved performance while being compatible with its existing Starlink user terminals. SpaceX has currently approved the deployment of 4,408 satellites at LEO for a network that will connect users from approximately 550 kilometers above Earth using Ku-band spectrum. Another FCC approval also gives SpaceX permission to launch her 7,500 V-band satellites. The first generation of Starlink will be required to reach a total of approximately 12,000 satellites for global service.